Today we're painting this Christmas tree. And for paints, I am using Viviva Spring Set and metallics. I'm also using Viviva Watercolor crystals in emerald. And then I'm using Princeton Aqua Elite 6 round brush. And then golden maple, I just got these off of Amazon, and I just like them, these cute little brushes. Number 2. Let's get into it. So I always bend the card so I know that I have it in the right position. The front of the card is going to be the longer bit, and the back is the shorter. So let me get that, and then I'll just unfold it so that I can paint here. I don't always tape my card down. This is Strathmore, by the way, greeting card watercolor paper. Alrighty. So I'm starting with the olive green, and I'm gonna do somewhat diluted color because I want to add the paint crystals, which give some really cool effects. All right, so here's how I'm going to lay out my paper. So the star is going to go here, so I think the tree should start somewhere around here, and then, you know, I think it can go all the way to the bottom. So we'll just start with that. And I'm not going to be really picky about it, and neither should you. Have fun, enjoy it. You know, it's progress, not perfection. And here we go. All right. So this is just the top of the tree, and real simple. Okay, then we'll do the next layer here, and I'm gonna leave like a little space to put ornaments in there, or some little twinkly lights, whatever. All right, let's just get going. And I am really lightly just touching the brush to the paper, just to give the sort of impression of a Christmas tree, not, you know, actual sort of exact. And even if you want to just kind of like do a little like this first, like, and then kind of go back and add, you know, leaves, you can do that too. If you feel more comfortable just working quickly to get some stuff on the page. Okay, so now that we did sort of this first group, and actually I'm going to make these just a little bit longer. I'm going to go in and start adding the brusho to this while it's still wet, because the brusho is water activated. All right, so take a dry brush, just get a little bit, this is how I do it anyway, on the tip of the brush, and just sort of drop it over. You can already see that it's starting to you know, make this really cool pattern. You don't need a lot. It's really vivid once it gets on to that wet. All right, so, and then just blow off the excess, and then we will keep moving. Just let it do its thing. And again, don't worry about it. The cool part of, I think, of watercolors is that, you know, they do have a little bit of a mind of their own, and you know, if you lean into that, you really just find that, you know, you get cool, interesting effects that you can't really get with other mediums. And, you know, half of the fun is just sort of seeing what they do on their own, and you can always work around it. Okay, then we'll do sort of this last group here. And it looks like, I think I started off even, but then I went out this way a little bit more, but that's okay. We'll just keep moving. This is sort of the last group, and so I'm gonna make it just a little bigger. Our ornaments will hang off the bottom there, so let's not forget that. We don't want them to be too low. And the reason I kind of had paused and did the brush show is, again, because it was starting to dry. So like I can see right here, this is a little bit dry. So I'm just gonna add a little wet there. But so if you wanted to do one layer and then do brush show and then do the next layer, you could do that too. I think that's a fine way to do it. Okay. All right, so we got our last layer here for the tree. And now let's go and add some brush show on top of there. I added a little water, so I'm just gonna, okay. Yeah. Like I said, you don't really need a lot. It's super strong, really vivid colors when it starts coming out, and it spreads too, which is great. So as long as, you know, your paint's wet and you start to drop it in, it'll kind of start to spread out and do its thing. Do a little there. Okay. Just trying to look at areas where I didn't quite get it. There we go. Okay. All right, now I'm gonna wipe this brush off because I'm actually going to use it for the ornaments, and I'm not going to use the brush show anymore. I use the emerald green, by the way. Okay, now let's see. I am going to, let's start with the star on the top. I'm not the best at stars, I'll be honest. Okay, I'm gonna use this metallics because it's got a really fun gold that I love. All right, so I like these Viviva color sheets. They got great colors. They're fun to use. So, all right, and I'm just gonna do like a regular 5-pointed star. All right, and I think I'll do like a little, you know, like a Christmas tree has the thing that the topper sits on. All right, so we'll start here. I think we'll do, all right, so like I'm literally just doing like the kindergarten version of a star because I am not great at stars. But that's okay, because once it starts to fill in, it'll look all right. Alrighty, there we go. All right, so then let's just fill that baby in. And I mean, again, it's not perfect, you can see, but that's really not that big of a deal, because the whole thing is very, is sort of very organic in some ways, so it doesn't have to be perfect. Matter of fact, I feel like if it was perfect, it would just stick out and look a little weird, because the rest of the tree is not that way. So we'll just go with that. Okay, and I'll leave that there. All right, now I'm gonna start just adding ornaments, and I'm gonna kind of go one color at a time. This again, this pack is really great because you can get metallics and there's a whole variety of them. So, you know, you don't need to stop and get paint out of a tube or, you know, whatever. Anyway, I personally just like it. Okay, so I'm just gonna start adding my ornaments here. And it looks solid, but once it dries, you'll see it'll have a little bit of a sheen to it. So I'm just going to go on each row and start adding different ornament shapes, because, you know, ornaments are different, obviously. I mean, you could do all circles if you want to, but I kind of like having a little bit of variety in my ornaments. But you absolutely do what makes you happy. Okay. And as I mentioned, I'm not worrying about it being too perfect, because, you know, I just want it to be fun, have this organic look to it. All right. And you can see again, like we got a little, because, you know, some of this stuff is still wet. Obviously the little brusho bits are still in there, right? So they're gonna come out. But it's not, I don't think it's a big deal, because when this starts to dry, you know, you'll get this really cool sheen, and I think it'll look neat. Let's see, do a little diamond shape. I don't know, what do you guys think of when you think of Christmas? I sort of think about, so like obviously I was born in the 70s, and my you know, a lot of my memories are 80s and 90s Christmases. And we would go to my grandparents in Texas for Christmas. And my grandmother always like had a great big tree, and these old like ribbon candies, and these hard like, I don't know, raspberry candies. And it was very like, you know, again, like very 70s-ish. Those old glass ornaments, I love those. So like when I think of ornaments, I guess I think of like those old-fashioned kind of like tin, shiny tin ornaments. I don't know, were they glass? I think they were glass, but you know, they were a bunch of different colors. So, you know, they looked, all of them were kind of different, shiny. You can get them now, but they're plastic. They sort of have that little retro look to them. We actually still have ornaments that my sister and I made when we were little. My mom passed away last year, but before, you know, way before that, she had given us some of our old ornaments, which was nice. That first Christmas after she passed away was, oh man, that was hard. So we'll see what this Christmas brings. You know, the holidays are, I guess, never easy when it comes to that sort of thing. But you know, we sort of have new traditions now, but we kind of, you know, like we've adopted some of the traditions, of course, that I grew up with, and that my son's dad grew up with. So it's always nice to kind of start new traditions. Okay. Ooh, that's a nice color. Let's see. I'm running out of shape ideas all of a sudden. Well, that was going to be, now it looks like an upside down ice cream cone, but that's okay. That's all right. I'll do this blue. Let's see, what would be another kind of, oh, maybe I'll do the star over here. little triangle maybe, or diamond. Oops, I got two diamonds right next to each other, but that's okay. It'll be fine. And I want to do silver ornament. Sure, why not? I'll do a little silver ball here. And it'll end up turning green because of that stuff. That's okay. It'll be fun and shiny. And then we'll do one here too. You'll end up getting a cool pattern from those things too. All right, let me see. Oh, maybe I'll just do a teeny one right there. We'll do orange. There, okay. All right, now I'm gonna add some sort of tinsel. I'm gonna use the gold again, so it ties back in with the star up there. Okay, I'm just gonna do like that. All right. And I'm kind of going fast, you know, obviously, so this isn't like the longest video in the world. But if you want this to be more sort of meditative, I mean, slow down. Like if I was just doing this kind of hanging out on a Friday night, which I often do, watching movies and painting, I would go a heck of a lot slower, just so that you could kind of enjoy the moment and really get into it and not rush it. I am going to go back and do over there, but I thought I would do this first. And you can see some of these are starting to dry, and that sheen is coming through, which is cool. All right. So I think that's it. Let me just take a quick peek at this thing. Overall, let's see what it's looking like. Crazy star. Yeah, I like it. It's a pretty easy way to kind of get a really cool, interesting design. I'm gonna sign this, and but then I'll let it like dry a little bit, and we can come back and take a look at it in just a minute. All right, so we finished painting. Here's what it looks like after it's all dry. You can see the green part is the watercolor with the brush show is just a matte, and then you've got those ornaments in the metallic that really just like make them pop. So it's really cute. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you're able to create your own, and you know, practice. If you don't get it the first time, that's okay. Just keep practicing and practicing. And yeah, I've been painting for years, so hopefully you can at least enjoy yourself and have fun. Have a great day. Bye.